All right, we are back with Futurama, any percent being run by Stylonide with Liquid Wi-Fi on the couch. And you may remember me as Megaslayer321A, the person who just did the last run. Take it away, Stylonide.
Yes, yeah, that pretty much covers everything. I'm Stylonide, great value Liquid Wi-Fi, here with name brand Liquid Wi-Fi, doing great value cartoon meme game. Alright, yeah, so on go, let's start the timer. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Wait. I didn't have the host page up. I was just getting that up.
You know what, it's cool. This game's in game time anyways, bro, it's alright. We'll just ballpark another 10 seconds on, it's all good. So yeah, Futurama the game. This is an interesting little oddity. A lot of people aren't even aware that this game exists. This came out in 2003 for PS2 and Xbox. And it was made by a little Swedish studio called, I think it's Unique Development Studios. This was one of their last games. It was part of this big deal for Swedish game development of acquiring, like, big IPs and handing them to game dev studios to kind of put them on the map. Unfortunately, it didn't really work, but, you know, I like the game, so hopefully those Swedish developers can be happy that one dude in Australia has played 500 hours of their little dinky cartoon game. So we're running through Planet Express right now to gather some tools, literally because the professor just wants us out of his metaphorical hair. And that's really about it. All you're really seeing in this level is a lot of miniature optimizations with my movement, sort of knowing when to jump and get around some obstacles, not take damage, sort of like I'm holding Y to interact things on the earliest possible frame of contact with them, so like with that fan there I kind of hold Y and jump around it. Really, really minor optimizations, which hopefully will get me a good IL time here. Or maybe I'll get a 124, we'll see. 124, so close. So yeah, both Liquid and myself, to give a bit of history, we've been running this game for quite a while. I think we both started like midway through last year. And I've sort of kept on chugging along, but you kind of moved on back to Cheeseman Drive Car.
Yes, I did.
Yes. But yeah, we had a bit of fun together with this game for a while. It's a good time. Fry's pretty standard movement-wise. He's not as crazy as Bender and Leela, who are more technical characters, which is just a really funny sentence to say. But he does have a couple of cool tricks up his sleeve. He doesn't really have much going on with his own moveset, but what he does have going on is just really poor placement of triggers in levels. So what I'm doing here is I actually ran over a trigger there through that door and got back through before it closed. And to sort of, I guess, conserve resources, the game deloads the rest of the level behind me so I can get out of bounds on this geometry, and we're just up and away going through the level. And I just want to drag the camera down, otherwise the whole level disappears, like it just did, and I had a mini heart attack. But yeah, you just get to run through all of this. There is another trigger we're going to hit on the ceiling here that was recently found by Toxic Pinhead. He finds, like, everything in this game. And that just saves me having to cut across the ceiling here. That's a very small optimization that if there are any dedicated Futurama Marathon run viewers out there, that's new. So there you go, something slightly fresh. So running along the ceiling, we just clip back in by just move along past the wall there. Because whatever reason, the ceiling is solid ground, but the walls don't have collision. I'm going to try to go for something here called ladder hops. I try to set myself up with a certain cue to jump on the ladder, and then use a visual cue to jump. And what this does is it just skips a little climbing animation Fry does. So I got both. That's actually really awesome. High risk, low reward, and we got the low rewards. Speaking of, we have another one here where I'm going to try to land and grab a ladder as I land. Holy crap, I got it. Alright. So, that's, yeah, this is a pretty good sus.
That's a lot harder than he made it look.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in any of the streams I've watched.
It's very recent. I've still been working on making it a little more consistent. There are cues you can use, but yeah, there's sort of like a leap of faith element to that, where you kind of just have to know when to move the stick around. I'm a little disappointed I took the safe out of bounds jump, but that's still a very good sus. That's a good start to the run. Yeah, sub 4 minutes. So, nice. this next level really explains itself. Fry has a lot of ammo and health management, and sort of optimizing the charge shots on his pistol and shotgun is really important. But that's like literally the whole level, so I'm just gonna play it out. Mega, do we have any donations?
Yeah, we've got a couple here. We've got a 20 from Cunning, who I can only assume is Cunning Kanga, who says, "Time to run a funny Future Man game, smile, putting towards Ratchet and Clank Deadlocked."
Love to see it.
And we have another $20 from Vot's Parents. "Good luck to stylonide and all the runners. Please put this towards runner's choice." Which would be...
Can I do half towards World's Hardest Game and half towards the Bioshock 2 incentive?
You sure can.
Thank you very much. Any more, or is that it for the
That's all
time
there
being?
for now.
All right, cough up, fellas. Come on. No. So I'm actually I can switch back to comms mode because I'm currently a little anxious with my health here. So with Subway here, you just want to cut a really effective line through everything. Obviously there, you just have to, on the fly, in an RTA environment, make little micro adjustments, so I picked up some HP there. Just lots of little things you can do. The camera's an interesting little thing. It's got a lot of little subtleties to it, so I'm trying to set Fry up in a position here where when it goes out of this little cutscene, it's behind him, so the camera will always go behind Fry, so I just want to face him in a spot where the camera basically has room to breathe. There are a lot of other oddities with the camera. I'm using the lock-on to snap to an enemy, which is pretty bog standard, and using the left trigger is slightly more optimal than going into first person and back out. We used to think the left trigger was useless because it would physically swing the camera, but if you put a solid object behind your, between your character and the camera just snaps like when you do first person. First person's bad because it makes you stop. And another oddity about this game, there is a slightly higher top speed with your character's movement than when they first start walking. So like, it's tiny, but it matters. So that's kind of been the like story of this game lately, is just like micro optimizations. We had a few like really big leaps with tricks, and we'll be getting to those big leaps and talking about those, particularly in Bender and Leela. But Fry is just the epitome of like move well, get the micro adjustments in, take advantage of the level. Speaking of, there is a trigger down here. I wish I grabbed that ammo, but no biggie. And I wanted to avoid that trigger, and I have successfully avoided it, and that just stops... Yeah, that's actually very good, especially with what I did with that ammo. That stops tons of enemies from spawning in here. And it used to be a big thing before I rerouted the level. The reroute is this, you just jump here. But it used to be a big deal until I found that jump, but it still matters because it actually saves like frames to not lag with all the enemies. Even with the in-game timer, it does help you out, and it stops you from losing like a bunch of health and using ammo you don't want to use. Because we basically want to get the most mileage out of the shotgun that we can get by the end of this level, and then next level we get the Tommy gun, which is absolutely brilliant. So what I was doing there was just taking out a lot of enemies to trigger this door to open. And it's very important how you move there. That was something I kind of forgot the chance to talk about there. When I was falling down from that building with the despawned enemies, I wanted to jump at certain points to not hit a trigger to spawn the soft lock pig. Which, if you get that guy, it just ruins your attempt at the level, and it's bad, but it's easily avoided, so no biggie. So again, right here, just taking advantage of free aiming with the shotgun. You don't have to lock onto all the enemies, because having the camera snap in a narrow environment like this is just kind of nasty. And again, I don't really have proof to confirm this, but it seems to be consistent. If I bring the camera like over to that junction box as I shoot it, and then bring it back over as fast as I can, the fans just seem to stop earlier, but it's one of the few things left in this game that's just like tinfoil hat science. Alright, so now we're on to Red Light District, and this level actually has had a really cool change recently called Martini Hop. There's this little neon sign of a martini glass, and it like goes back and forth, and on one of those frames of animation, or one of those like two keyframes I guess, it's actually solid. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to jump on the glass, and then jump up to this window, and I've completely bypassed a trigger that is just down on the ground. and that just stops all of these robots downstairs from spawning. The old strat used to just be, you would just run through, they would spawn, and you would just kind of have to very quickly get up to these air vents by jumping on some crates, and it was just very precarious with your HP. So it's really nice that it's not only faster to do Martini Hop, but also safer, so that's pretty cool. It's even used in all nibblers, just because stopping those guys from spawning for as long as possible, or forever, is just really advantageous. And again, like, that's, I will stress, like, the invisible triggers of this game, I'll try to point them out where I can, because the average viewer really won't pick up on them, but they make such a huge difference. This game, before we knew about them and how to, you know, avoid them or manipulate them, was just a whole different ballgame. But, yeah, okay, so Uptown. Keep it rolling. Uptown used to have another old strat, which, again, was just a little bit riskier. This one's a little more precise, I would argue, because we basically are going to use a destructible object and hope we don't destroy it. So we've already basically made it safe. So there's this little trash can, and we can actually just get on top. And now we basically skipped the entire level. We've got to do a little bit of jumping yet, though. This one's a little finicky. Sweet, we got it. And we're on amazing HP. Yeah, this is not half bad. I'm gonna go something risky. We can risk it for the biscuit, is what I call this. Basically, I'm usually on half health at this point, so I set myself up a little differently for this gunfight, so that I take less damage from the robots, but I was able to risk all of that. Kind of flubbed some of the movement there, but not bad. At this point, we're pretty much guaranteed to be out of Fry if this were to be a PB attempt, so it's always a nice feeling, because the really interesting stuff is up next. But first, we've got to get through New York. There will be a lot of space to talk about the marathon and donations in just a moment. I'm going to break this level down. Started off as pretty boring, because it was very basic. Then we discovered rockets were better for crowd control than dealing damage. Then the level became a little interesting, because, you know, it was a little more engaging, and now it's wrapped all the way back around to being like probably my least favorite level, because now I know all the optimizations and I have to go for them, and it's like needlessly intense. But yeah, in terms of mechanics, rockets come from 4 points on the screen. It's actually a global cycle from boot, so I'm going to be like sort of aiming to accommodate for like where they're tracking from. So that one's going to come from the top right. And you can have stuff like go through collision. It's a good thing that your shots can go through walls in some spots, because you can pre-fire on some enemies. And it's also a bad thing, because sometimes your rockets sail off into the out-of-bounds areas of the level, which just kind of sucks. But yeah, that's pretty much this whole level. It's a bit of a snooze fest, so, you know, viewers, if you want to kill time, donate towards incentives so Mega Slayer can read them out. So, speaking of, anything new?
We do have a few donations, but just before that, Cunning Kanga is asking you to free the Nibbler.
Oh, okay, yeah, I missed the one at the beginning, but I'll free all the other ones for him.
Cool. Yeah. Alright, so we have $10 from BBQ, which I believe is BBQ Snag in chat, who says, "Go Mr. Stylonide, go," and he asked me to put his donation to the Super Monkey Ball Italian. We have $2 from T-Bolt, that just says 111. Please put this to any unallocated dono from me. Please put this and any unallocated dono from me so far towards Mr. Funny Streamer Man's choice. That is for a total of $9.
Easy.
Your choice.
We'll avoid decimals. We'll chuck that on Bioshock 2 for the moment.
Sure. We have $5 from Anonymous that says squeak, 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 squeak. $10 from Anonymous again that says, I haven't donated before, but I love Futurama, so here is a little that I do have. And we have $10.77 from Matthew. Can I get a cheese pizza and a large soda? Put this towards the runner's choice.
That'll be $10.77 for the cheese pizza and large soda, same as my pin number. We'll do that, we'll spice up, we'll do that on World's Hardest Game. Split them up between the two.
And we have 20 euros from Tread that says, "What up? Good luck on the run, and it's Friday, I think."
Close enough. Sunday's close enough.
Okay, so that was $9 towards the
Bioshock 2?
Bioshock, and $10.77 towards World's Hardest, was that?
Yeah. Yep. Easy as. Yeah, thanks for all the donations, guys. Keep them coming. All for a good cause, and there's a lot of good incentives, so please do continue to do so.
And we've got a lot of time left on this level, so good time.
Oh
to
yeah,
fill in
yeah. There's a
some,
lot of dead air that could be filled,
content.
guys. I actually might talk a little bit about the end of the level here. This is where your rocket management really comes into play, and your aiming, and also your rocket pattern. So I actually set the global cycle back to a certain pattern before I do a run, because it makes this particular series of shots much more comfortable to get. So let's see if we get them. We got those guys. We're gonna wait for the guy on the left to move forward a little. Okay. I let him move a little too far forward. But yeah, the bullet aiming's really lousy. It's kind of spreads around a bit, whereas the rockets always follow a very like set trajectory. So when you know what direction they're approaching from and where to aim for, it's very efficient for like very far off small targets. That's something funny about this level, by the way. The smaller guys have like more HP and a smaller... They're just smaller. They're harder to hit. So the big guys with the grenade launchers are just like trivial in this level. But yeah, rest of this level's a cakewalk now.
Oh, we have another £18 from Anonymous that says, Runner's Choice, also Super King is the best one of the three.
It's true.
The conversion there is about $33.50.
$33.50. We'll do 15 on Bioshock 2 and the rest of World's Hardest.
Sure.
Alright, so we're coming up on the end of the level here, and this is, again, a big part of rocket management. You'll see I'm just using a set of 4 rockets on these sets of 3 enemies that come from the bus. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a lot faster than individually shooting all 3. And now we're done with Fry. 15:28 out of there is not bad for marathon standards. And we're into Bender. We are truly riding the walrus. So Bender has a lot more going on with his movement than Fry that makes him a little bit more interesting for runners, in my opinion. So right out the gate, we're doing this like little butt stomp attack that effectively functions as a double jump. It's got some nuance to it. When you finish butt stomping, you sort of sit still for a moment, so you want to avoid it where you don't need it. So there might be a few like cheeky single jumps that you could make where you know, a beginner might do a double jump. Bender also has a fall timer. All the characters do. It's basically how the game calculates fall damage. Once you've been falling in a fall state for a certain amount of time, it will calculate either taking damage on landing or dying instantly on landing, depending on how far you fall. And by spinning or sliding as we leave a ledge, we're sort of delaying that fall timer a little bit. And not taking fall damage is important just because, again, you sit still for a while, and it's just a real nuisance. And of course, health management in some levels is very important to your execution. But yeah, there's a few more things going on. You can sort of... His hitbox changes around a bit depending on what he's doing, so I'm going to be using his spin here as I fall to kind of like snag on some geometry here and just walk up. And then, speaking of janky geometry, we're going to be using the double jump to get up here. It's really weird geometry to explain, but it's like you have to go up and around, basically. There is one trick here that I just never do in marathon runs or even PB attempts. There is a very precise buffered slide you can do while falling down here after taking out this rock. But it's scary, and dying in this level is particularly bad. So there are 11 nibblers in this level, and if you die before getting to the last 2, I'm not sure what it is, but they just kind of vanish, which is very bad for all nibblers. And it's also a little bit lousy in any percent, because we actually, in true Bender fashion, choose not to free the last nibbler, and instead jump on top of its cage and use it as a boost to basically shortcut through a whole set piece. But yeah, that's, again, just lots of fundamentals in Bender's moveset that make him a lot more interesting. If you're a fan of, like, platformers and, like, movement-based runs, like, this is sort of more... little closer to that sort of stuff. So again, we're sort of, we're taking advantage of the double jump here to avoid ledge grabs. I don't think I've explained ledge grabs, but if you've been watching, they're pretty cumbersome. The Futurama cast even Leela, when it comes to ledge grabs, aren't particularly athletic. So we want to avoid them where possible. So coming up, we're actually seeing a piece of tech called the redirected slide. There's also a redirected roll with Leela, but I just sort of shorten it to the term redirect. And I have a bit of dead air in the rest of this level and the next level, the next level's a snooze fest, to explain them. So what I did just then is I started a slide, changed where I was looking in first person and exited. And like, well, why does that work? So when you commit to a slide or a roll as Bender or Leela, you can't change the direction while you're moving. You know, if you slide to the left, you're committed to moving in that direction until the slide is done. And let's say that that distance you cover with a slide or a roll is 10 units, right? Like, just as a hypothetical number. If we enter first person and then leave first person after changing it to a different direction, about 45 degrees or more in you know, to the left or right, when you exit, the game sort of thinks, oh, you're facing this direction, I should zip you like just 10 units that way because that's where you were facing. So we're kind of tricking the game into thinking we started the slide or the roll from a different direction, and it just ignores collision in front of us in most cases. And as long as there's, you know, stuff for us to stand on at that point, so many units in that direction, then we can just go through walls effectively. So it's like technically clipping, but it's not, because we're not actually moving through the wall, we're just like teleporting almost. But they're cool. They're really cool. When they were first found, I want to say like 10 minutes IGT was cut from the run. I don't know. Do you remember how much it was, Liquid?
I think it was 8 minutes is roughly
8 minutes, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but at that point, that was really huge. The game's sort of like milestone was sitting at somewhere in the 50s. I think it was like a 53 52? Or a 52 was like, we decided like, yeah, that's like ideal. Like, that's a really optimal run. And then it just like, in a single night, Toxic Pinhead, you know, the man, the myth, the legend, brought it to my attention in the level The Junkyard. And I sort of got a little brainwave and I was like, wait, would this work elsewhere? And then it did, and then I thought, oh, does this work with Leela? And then it did, and that just triggered like this whole little reroute of so many levels. So it was a very exciting time to be running this game. I think that would have been around like August or September of last year, I'd want to say. So yeah, awesome find. Big shout outs to Pinhead. He's like just a strat god in these kinds of games. He's just got the gift.
I do have a question though.
Go for it.
When do fry slides become a thing?
When we find a slide for the guy. So okay, well, what Mega Slayer is referring to there, fry, if you like sort of very quickly like let go of the stick while moving, you can get this like janky slide. Of course I jumped on the one barrel that stops me. I've tried doing like a redirect with that little slide, but because it doesn't go in a fixed direction, like Fry just has no tech. It's basically just this running meme now of like, you know, when's Fry tech? I don't know, but I hope it happens. So, you know, we'll just have to wait for Pinhead to hit the jackpot one day, I'd imagine. So thankfully, I was able to fill that entire boring level with more interesting things. You run away from the screen and try to hug the corners. I sort of didn't hug the corners as best as I could, but you get the idea. Run, Bender, Run is boring. Mine Facility is not boring. Liquid and I used to do like IL races for this way back in the day. A couple of cool finds. This next one was actually found by Liquid. This is Crusher Skip. It went like this. We were in a call. One of us said, I wonder if we can skip that Crusher. I think it was me. I think I did a slide and then like skipped it, or you did. And then you found the like visual cue and the setups. That's a really cool find.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So that was a fun one. There's an old trick there that isn't used anymore, which is really interesting. If I get it in another level, you'll see it once in the entire run, and it's a frame-perfect input while making contact with a ladder. And there used to be a ledge in this level where if you hit slide the instant you made contact with like a shelf, the top of a shelf, you would skip the climb animation, and that was the thing to get when we would race that level. It was a lot of fun. I remember like way too many like 2 a.m. sessions where like we'd just be watching each other and we'd be like, oh, he's got the grab, like. So it was a good time. Hypothetically, I haven't really blabbed it too hard, but I believe it could be applied to pretty much any ledge Bender grabs. But I feel like that would just make running his levels into pure suffering, so I'm not at that point yet where I need those little half-second intervals. It's a bit of janky movement. Red Rock Creek is a fairly standard little level here, but there's a couple of interesting little moments with weird geometry and, again, redirects, but a lot of standard movement. Basically, I'm going to get to a point here where activating some dynamite to trigger a stone pillar to fall sort of changes the hitbox of these rocks, and it actually lets me get on top of them, and it's faster to just kind of set this wall to blow up, and then just go over the wall. And then you'd think, oh, destroy that tower. Nah, destroying the tower is slow too. So we're just going to get up here and just make our way around, use that fall timer to our advantage, redirect through here, make sure we spawn that purple fog, because if you don't, a door won't open later. I found that one out the hard way. And you sort of...
The hardest jump in the game.
Yeah, I was going to make the exact same joke. Yeah. This is actually one of the easiest jumps. Oh, he took damage. Okay, the run's invalid. Yeah, it's a really easy jump, but there's just a runner who shall remain anonymous failed the jump quite spectacularly. It was christened Bender Jump that evening.
I heard that it just dropped the input entirely.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of like when I play the junkyard and try to get over this scrap heap here. Yeah, I mean, Bender Jump is... I mean, it was a meme that it was your Achilles heel, but this jump coming up here is probably my Achilles heel. Yeah, there are visual cues and there are setups, but yeah, this is like probably... It's such a stupid jump because it doesn't look hard, but you actually have to focus for it. So there's this scrap heap here, it has some weird collision, I'm going to try to jump around everything here. Okay, we're good. It's not too bad, but I've failed it so many times on pace. It's like, when you have nerves, that jump just like ruins you. But yeah, so again, redirects being used to our advantage. The big gimmick with this level is we need to kill these robots to sort of trigger doors to open. It like turns on those lights you can see there. But we can take the pacifist strategy and just avoid killing them entirely. There is actually a small thing there. You want to get through that door as quick as possible because one of the robots is dumb enough to like follow you over that like death pit. And if he falls in there, it triggers a little cutscene that like loses a couple seconds. So good for me, that did not happen. We hug walls here. On the right here, just the floor doesn't collapse at all, which is really handy. And just kind of cheese that entire section. This is coming up on a really cool looking buffered double jump, if I do it right, or not buffered but delayed. And I'll try to get that frame perfect ladder grab. So we got the delayed double jump. Can we get the ladder grab? You know what? I'll give it 3 tries for the fans. Right, 2, 3, 4. Okay, nah. Basically, Bender goes straight through the little submarine there. Completely ignores it. It's only fast to get if you get it first try. If you miss it, you're just automatically losing time over taking the standard jump I ended up taking there. But hey, it's a marathon run. You gotta try to show off some of the cool stuff if you can. So speaking of cool stuff, thankfully this is just mandatory in order to get through the level. We're gonna completely ignore this boss thanks to some very conveniently placed props. And Neo our way past all of his bullets like we're in the Matrix. And then we're gonna pray the freaking game doesn't crash. Cool. Alright. There is a very rare crash there. I think I've seen it happen like 4 times total across like every runner of the game, including myself. I don't know why it happens, but I speculate it's like he tries to shoot at you on the same frame that it deloads his model. And you just can't tell like if he's about to shoot. There's no real cue for it. So. But hey, it didn't crash, so that's awesome. So anyways, we're on to Leela now. We're on to Shantae. This is the character from the last game. Just a little grown up. You know, purple hair, same exact character. That's how it goes.
Yeah, and for that, she got the tank top, got rid of the, that whole deal. Bit too much.
Exactly. Yeah, so Leela is probably the most interesting character in the run, both from a routing perspective and a tech perspective. She just has the most options available to her movement-wise. Unfortunately, and this is kind of the tragedy of the redirect, we don't see a lot of it anymore because the redirect is just so good. But yeah, she's really fun to move around with, really maneuverable. You sort of use her full kit that's offered to you in the casual game as well. So you'll see these little blue dots on my HUD. Those are special attack charges. I didn't get the best. That guy's meant to run up to the door. And she's invincible during her special attack and has a hitbox that extends out past the door. And that kills that guy a little early, so it saves me like 3 seconds. So now we're on to left wing and right wing. These two levels are a really fun pairing. They're very technical, but they're also very like high intensity. As you can see there, I've just redirected straight out, and that's cut probably off of a casual playthrough, like 2 minutes of gameplay. And that's just one redirect. There's a lot of doors here where the trigger is based on taking out all the enemies, but we can just go through the door. A really interesting thing about this level, actually, Liquid and myself, with old strats, we used to do a lot of like really interesting things to get out of bounds here and get around enemies, and doors just would end up not opening, which pre-redirect basically just meant, you know, run over. We needed to find a new way around. And it was devastating. I remember we tried to get past a door a little earlier in this level, and we were so close. I think you did a lot of the legwork on it, actually. And just couldn't get through. And now we just have the redirect, and we just like go wherever we want. We skip triggers, so there's a bunch of enemies that spawn here. They're not here now. Like, it's a bit ridiculous now with the redirect. It's a nice little piece of tech. So coming up on the rest of the level here, I actually lost a bit of HP earlier, which was a little sloppy of me. I want to be basically on full health. You don't need to be to survive the level, but you want to be, because this guy right here, the kamikaze, he pretty much always hits us. Okay, we're on perfectly fine health. So as you can see, there's just parts where it's more convenient to just damage abuse off those guys or try to like run away from them, but in that particular scenario, you've pretty much always got to take that hit. So it's just, you know, managing your HP, as we said. And that's left wing. And now we get to right wing, which this level, I don't think I can even talk about the full history of this level, but big shout out to Shadow Jump, for those that know it. Probably the stupidest skip in the game. So I'm going to be coming up on a big
it was
door.
fun to watch for me.
Yeah, you know.
As someone who doesn't run the game.
Be glad you didn't have to do it. So I'm redirecting past the cutscene trigger there. There used to be 2 ways to get through this door. On PAL, you could jump up on the center there, and the texture actually had like collision. On NTSC, for whatever reason, there was just a point where you couldn't get up through the ceiling. So we had to jump on a shadow that had collision, because it was like a hang on, it was like a solid object, just put in front of the wall, which looked awesome, but it was a pain to do. And now we just redirect past it. So. It's completely chill.
It was one of the worst tricks.
Yeah, it was legitimately why, like, PAL was the more viable one, just because it was more consistent. Oh my god, I got this. I don't know how I got that, but I got it. Oh, hang on, this could be bad. Oh, okay, never mind, that's bad to get. Okay, well, there we go. We've just done some on-the-fly labbing. I've never deloaded that head. Well, I've deloaded that head once, and I never knew what caused it to deload, but, I'm gonna hope the room there is loaded. I'm gonna get a little closer here. Okay. I'm gonna politely ask the audience to get out their bingo cards and just put a fat dot on me saying, that's never happened before. I'm gonna do a little bit of experimentation here. This may actually be a level reload. I'm imagining what I've done here is I've just skipped some sort of a trigger that I'm not aware of. So we'll see what we get. Okay. That's, interesting. I actually have to load a backup save. I've never had to do that for this game before. Again, put another bingo dot on that spot, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there's a big head there. You are going to be seeing that big head quite shortly. Oh, that's a real shame. I wanted to know what my IGT was going to be. But you want to land on a platform near that head in a certain way, so it doesn't trigger a little mini cutscene, and it also stops the head from firing at you. I deloaded that head once, popped off on stream, and forgot to like clip it or go back and look, so it just remained a mystery. But now I know it's actually bad to deload the head, so that's good to know. So we've learned something today. Oh man, so yeah, something about this game, we actually run it with in-game time as the preferred timing method, so I won't actually have a valid run now by the leaderboard rules. Okay, cool. We got our skeleton friend. Okay, everything's all good. We're able to proceed. And we got the little head skip there. It's like a combination of... It's trickier than it looks, and it's also about as easy as it looks. Like, sometimes that jump just goes smooth as butter, and sometimes the cutscene triggers and Leela just falls in the lava like a total dope. But we're all good. So we're back on track through right wing. Get back out here. What else is coming up in this level? There's a whole new strat change here. There used to be a bunch of pillars further up here that would sort of drop down into the lava. Very funny thing about those pillars, it was, with old strats, about as fast to just stand there and wait for them to, like, drop a certain amount in. Because you could, eventually it would just drop to the one that was directly across from you at the beginning of the sequence, which is hilarious. But now we get up on a ceiling and just completely go around all of it, which is pretty cool. And we also bypass a really annoying end segment of this level. Runners will know. It involved jumping on a door, and it's not fun. Because you needed a flower pot to get on the door, and if the flower pot broke, you were screwed. Again, this all sounds like gibberish, but runners will know. Liquid knows.
I know.
What we're going to do here, though, we're going to sort of fall down on this door, and that sort of, like, triggers the end level door to open. So we can actually get through. Obviously, we could redirect through, but there would be no active trigger. That was such a sketchy jump. I did not deserve to live through that. I'm just going to point that out now. But yeah, we're at the end of the level. So sweet. I'm amazed that right wing, it's usually a level that goes right for me. I'm amazed it managed to go wrong in a spectacularly new way, live for everyone to see, but I'm glad we could demonstrate this game's busted-ass triggers. So, this level used to be several minutes long. With tricks, it's about 16 seconds. Did I get a 15? No, it's a 16. You can get a 15. But we'll take the cheeky 16. And that little 16-second level there, that was our breather. We're now in Inner Temple, which, like left wing and right wing, is actually pretty intense. It's very movement oriented, and the end of the level is quite trick oriented with the Sun God boss fight. So what I'm doing here with these zigzags, if you've ever watched a Crash Bandicoot run, this is the exact opposite. I'm doing these to lose speed. If you jump in a straight line there, you sort of end up getting ahead of the platforms and have to do a ledge grab or fall into lava, which, yeah, I don't think I need to clarify that that's bad, but it's bad. I'm sort of spacing my redirects here a certain amount. You'll notice I'm not doing them right up against all these doors, because otherwise you just sort of zip past over, you know, you have like a Wile E. Coyote moment, and you're just above lava for a moment, and then fall in, which is not fun. We got a decent cycle here, which isn't bad. I'm going to keep moving through the level here, but Mega Slayer, do we have any new donations?
No new donations, but I would like to remind everyone what it is we're doing here. We, Oz Speedruns, are raising money for charity organizations through playing games very, very fast. In this event, we are raising money for Beyond Blue, an organization that wants to help people who are suffering with mental problems to live their best life possible. Please, if you can afford to, donate, and while you're donating, put what incentives you'd like your donations to go to. Words are hard. Upcoming incentives, we have a Hat in Time character bid war, where we have Hat Kid versus Bo Kid. Hat Kid is currently in the lead with $10. We also have a short hike, which is including a new game to the marathon that has $130 left out of its $500. And the last one I'd like to mention right now would be the Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage Spyro's Color. Currently in the lead, we have Yellow with $65. Sorry, I am mistaken. Currently in the lead, we have Green with $66, and right behind it, Yellow with $65. If you'd like to see that terrible, terrible yellow that is also somehow beautiful, please make it happen.
Donate for green. Nivea gang, rise up. Alright, so making our way through the level here, and so something I was doing there, I was actually grabbing that little purple orb way earlier in the level. That's a special ability charge. Of course, because we're now running off of my marathon safety saves, we have full charges, but that's a little part of Leela's resource management. They were handy for those skeletons earlier. And our health management coming into the end of the level here is also going to be quite important. There's actually a little strat I found coming up, which is pretty cool, where we use a redirect to skip a trigger. I've just basically mapped out where the trigger is and avoided it. And not having these enemies spawn right up ahead here stops a lot of lag. So we're just going to go over it. There we go, lovely. You can get through here with the lag, but the lag is just not good to have in the Sun God boss fight. And Sun God water fight, you know what? I'm gonna throw the hot potato to you, Liquid. Explain Sun God boss fight.
Alright, I'll do my best. So, at the start here, he's going to dodge, I believe it's 4 shots and make sure he breaks Leela's hitbox by rolling and then punching. After that, he's going to jump over to Sun God and just sort of touch him and drag him over to the edge. And you'll see, next time the camera goes on him, he's doing this little chicken dance. What this does is it sort of traps him from, yeah, see, there you go.
Oh,
no.
bugger, right. That's my fault for trying to show him off. I don't usually tilt the camera. No, that's alright, that's alright. You're doing well, you're doing well. Keep going with that.
What that does is he, basically can't progress any further into the attacks that he has scripted. That's unfortunate as well.
That is very unfortunate. Thankfully, we have 103 lives, so it's just time we're losing right now.
So yeah, when he traps him in the animation, what he's going to do is he's just going to go over to each of the items that he has to pick up
in the lava
and place them down, while also just making sure that he doesn't die.
Yes, so resource management and health is important here. You basically want to have one full pip. You also don't want to knock him in the lava. It causes slightly more lag, but it's not a big deal on OG Xbox. Something I've also totally neglected to mention just because Leela is that tech heavy. I've been doing this thing where you sort of might see her jitter and punch. That's me cancelling a roll. Her roll has a slightly smaller hitbox, which is why I was able to walk underneath a bunch of obstacles earlier. And it's also how I was able to get out of bounds, because obviously when she has no collision on her top half, she can kind of poke through ceilings. And then when you restore a collision to normal, the game kind of lets you get pushed up onto things. And finally, it actually gives you roll state properties. So it doesn't really affect any enemy except the Sun God, but if you roll into the Sun God, you can move him on his platform. And when you do a roll cancel like that, you're actually storing the properties of rolling with you. So it's very handy there. If you actually know how to play the game, you can get him first try. But
His third try is basically the same as first try.
Well, it's a marathon run. I always scuff them up a little bit. It's first try for marathon standards. Alright, you know what? We'll get the nibblers. I'll make up for the 1 or 2 nibblers I missed in New York.
Or is it 175? I can't remember.
I am not going for all the fish because one of them risks death. There's 1 or 2 fish. Most of these fish are fairly well placed by the developers. It's clearly here's a suggested path for the player, and then there's 1 or 2 that are the most gigantic pain to pick up. And one of them just straight up puts you in front of a death hazard. So
What if I told you I'd donate 50 if you got all the fish?
I'll try.
Alright, let's go.
I'll try.
I'll fulfill my end
No,
of the
I missed one then.
No,
That's the crappy one. That's the really crappy one. How about every fish but that one? Alright, bet. That one sucks, because you have to do a very light press. 49? Alright, you're on. I missed another one. Alright, bro, how about 48, man? But, this is the...
I knew that first one, I don't know what the second one is.
Wait, the first,
one.
There's sort of, you zigzag past some death hazards towards the end, and it's it's obviously risky to hit it, but it also does lose you time, because you just spend... Oh, cool. Because you just... You know what, I'll donate a tenner after the run for that. Yeah, it does lose you time because you just spend ages moving to the right to grab it. I think it's this one right there. That one just kind of sucks to grab.
That one's nasty.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? It's always the jump ones. Yeah, how about 48, bro?
48, we'll go 48.
I'm basically just locking you into donating at this point. Zoidberg is such a meme. There's literally no tech with this guy. Be careful leaving your jumps. Oh, okay. No, you know what? You know
47?
what?
47.
How about 47, brother? I'll donate the difference. I'll donate. I owe $13. So we'll still get that 50 in. This is
How
like,
about Zoidberg?
yeah, this is the worst fish pickups I think I've ever done. Like, because I've done this for the meme of like, oh, I'll pick them all up. And then this is like, oh man, this is shocking. Thankfully, it doesn't matter.
100% run, didn't you? Did you manage to get them all in that?
I did. That run was painful because, for many reasons, but most of the levels got every pickup. Yeah. So 100% in this game. So there's two actual categories: any percent and all nibblers. You see the little nibbler counter on the bottom left there. The nibblers just unlock like the load screen art, the level music, and the FMVs. So they don't really give you much, but they're fun to like go out of your way to discover and collect. 100% is picking up all the nibblers, killing every enemy, and picking up every like character-related item, which is horrible. Really, really horrible. I saw my IGT there and panicked for a second, by the way. I was like, what have I done? Oh yeah, I deloaded the head.
46 it is.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just call it as a
46
46.
and 14.
So what we're trying to do here is hit the checkpoint trigger on the way to Bender's death there, and we just respawn downstairs. Pretty awesome. We hit this door to trigger a bunch of things in this room, then we redirect past... Oh, we didn't get it. There's this little in-engine cutscene here, which I was trying to avoid, but just missed out on avoiding. Unfortunately, there's this laser barrier. Oh no, what am I going to do? You already know what I'm going to do. Alright, we're through. So, we're going to grab another checkpoint here, death abuse through here, and again, we're sort of reloading with these barriers active and the enemies, just to make sure the level can kind of proceed. And then we just kind of... We're chilling. Just waiting for these guys to let us push them over. Yeah. I'm just chilling, bro.
I really do enjoy how the ground on the other side just never appears.
Yeah, so the floor there's meant to fall away, and when we go through the level in this, like, unintended fashion, it just, like, it's physically there. They just don't have the models. It's really bizarre. But yeah, there's gonna be this sound like a phone ringing, and that's just my cue to jump up and get off the floor. There we go. And then nothing else collapses after that. Once you hit that guy on the head, he politely asks the floor to stop collapsing. Alright, so we got 2 levels to go. I got no clue what my IGT is. I'm actually gonna very daringly say probably like a 47 almost with those sun god deaths.
Yeah, that's what your RTA is.
My turn now.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's we're on pace for underestimates. So that's good. I'm not gonna lie, I was panicking a little when that head deloaded. I wasn't sure how that was gonna influence the RTA. I'm not even gonna explain this actually. I've explained this before. That just looks like sick as hell, and I'm epic, and I jumped into the void and just knew what I was doing. Now there's like some geometry you can grab onto, and if you take a certain angle, then you can get onto it. So right here. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna... I was saying this to Liquid behind the scenes. I was like, oh, I almost got a 44 while practicing, and I wasn't recording. I bet I've, like, used up all my, like, epic gamer energy. Definitely seems to be the case. It's 3 a.m. Can you blame him, man? Yeah. Oh, no thanks. Not an energy drink, man. Maybe some, the Nivea juice, aka a good cold Asahi, maybe.
Some good green
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do.
Enjoy a good Asahi.
Excellent. All right, so we're opening this yellow door, and opening this yellow door causes the end level trigger to be active. We want to make sure we don't hit any checkpoints because it's convenient to actually respawn back at the beginning here. So what we do is we just hold Y up against the wall here, and we're hitting like a little lever that ends the level through the wall. So that's pretty cool. Now we're doing Fry Fights back. What are we on? We're probably on like a 49, so this will be underestimate. Excellent. And this level's like autocomplete, basically. You just kind of have to run through everything. There are a few optimizations you can take along the way. It's the only part of the game with like major RNG. Most of the AI that attacks you can sort of be like, you can rely on them to behave certain ways depending on how you approach. Destructor is the one guy who doesn't really follow that rule. He has set patterns of attack, and then he just shows his weak point. And what we get is just random. So, that's fun. That, like, wall of lasers, speaking of RNG, is actually not RNG. It's a set pattern. So I stand out there for a certain amount of time to get a certain amount of laser bursts out. There is one shot, because each shot has an individual hitbox. As long as that shot has been, like, fired, then nothing will hit me when I'm trying to open that door. So again, very minor thing that you may not notice, but it's a cool little thing that stops me from dying in the level, which would be bad. Futurama strats. To beat the game, reach the end of the level. Futurama strat number 2. To beat the game optimally, try not to die. So what we're doing here is we're grabbing keycards on our way to Destructor, and it's basically this, like, rat's maze of just, like, going back and forth, getting keycards. These number puzzles, any like, YouTuber, with, like, I don't know, with square eyes, maybe, you know, they'll complain about this number puzzle and be like, oh, bro, it's so hard, I'm not a mathematician. Yeah, neither am I. It's very easy. They're very easy number puzzles, and I know I'm saying that as someone who's memorized them. They're just patterns. I'm actually gonna, like, have a mini rant. It's amazing to me how people are like, I can't solve these, and it's just counting down from 10. Like, it's really funny. But, you know, it's, you know, this is real, high IQ Sigma male gaming right here. It's, you know, it's why we have so few runners. It's just advanced level speedrunning. I say holding forward for like 15 seconds straight going down this hall.
Advanced level.
Hey man, I'm not like slipping on the stick, bro. That's really important to not be doing, man.
You didn't miss a key card either, nice work.
I mean, that's kind of like my bender jump. That happened, did that happen in Marathon, or was that a PB attempt?
I'm pretty sure it happened in ASM 2020, or
yeah.
Fast. It was one of the two.
That was Marathon nerves hitting. I'm glad that I can just blame the game for that head deload. I'm not even gonna blame myself for that. That was just bizarre. Alright, so there's a little bit more movement stuff going on here with these like rotating blocks around these suspended platforms in like goo. These things have gigantic hitboxes. Jumping around them is risky, but I'm just gonna do it. Because I don't know.
Your great intellect.
Yeah, that gamer intellect we've been talking about. That causes me to die to Sun God 3 times. Alright, so we're through that. We're up to Destructor. Destructor's interesting. If we stand in a certain spot, he's gonna shoot at us because we're in his line of sight, but his shots physically won't connect. But because he can see us, he sort of goes through his attack pattern. So we get to kind of just sit here and chill out. Time will be on the final results screen popping up, which is after the boss fight. Yeah, we're just gonna hope he gives us... Okay, that's a good phase 1. I get the feeling we're gonna get the worst ever phase 2 now. Let's see how we go. Maybe he'll be really nice. What are you gonna do, buddy?
Uh-oh.
No, this isn't bad. The rockets look scary, but they don't do very much damage.
Don't they move you a bit?
They do, but I'm still in a position that should be, like, perfectly fine. Yeah, we're fine. Time's gonna be coming up in a moment. And time. Alrighty, that's Futurama. 113, what happened, bro? No. Alright, yeah. 3 Sun God deaths, 28 minutes lost.
Which is
so,
strange,
yeah.
because your RTA is only 56.
56? 56?
No, 52, 56.
Oh no, it's a quote. But
Sorry.
no, you're good. It's a bit of a deep cut. But yeah, thanks guys. Always fun. I know I was like motor mouthing all the way through that basically, but thank you Liquid for joining in. Mega Slave for the host, and all speedruns, and everyone who's like been watching, donating, doing their thing. Thank you everyone who's like stuck with me in my stream. I appreciate it.
Well,
and
on that note of donations, we do have a $46 donation from a Liquid Wi-Fi that says "Missed 4 Fish." If you'd like that to go to anything.
Multi-task game.
Cool.
Good pick. Good man. I almost tried to direct your donation. But yeah, awesome. I'll get my $14 in for that Zoidberg death and the fish. But yeah, good stuff.
All right. If there are no other shoutouts you'd like to throw out there, either of you?
Oh man, everyone who joins in the stream. I know Cunning Kanga wanted to run Bully this event, so I want to give a little shout out to him. I really hope to see him next year. But yeah, that's probably it from me.
Shoutouts to Toxic Pinhead.
Oh yeah, actually yeah, backed up on that one. Big shoutouts, and Henna Joe as well. And pretty much anyone who's run this game, you all rule. So yeah.
Alright, well then that was the Futurama Any Percent run by stylonide. Coming up next we have Prototype, also Any Percent, being run by Domidget2000. And this was my last duty on host, so ASM, thank you for having me. The people that I hosted, thank you for running such amazing games, and I will see you all later.